Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. All right, man. To a certain degree, I want y'all to not pay attention to what comes out of promoters' mouths sometimes, and even the fighters' mouths, especially the fighters' mouths, because a lot of times these fighters they just ain't keeping it 100. Now, if you a dude that know how boxing works and you spent a lot of time being on the inside learning the sport, you will know when you are being bullshitted versus somebody keeping it 100. And a lot of these dudes just don't be keeping it 100, and that's just the bottom line. You hear some of these fighters saying they okay with fighting you know um without an audience. Okay, yeah, that could work for some fighters, like the lower tier fighters, the up and coming fighters. Yeah, that could probably work. That could work for guys that's up and coming. The Joey Spencers, the guys like that, the Mario Barrios, the guys like that. That's not like at a stature to where they command and demand the big time salaries per fight. But the upper tiers, the upper echelons of fighters, that ain't gonna work. Okay, unless they willing to take a tremendous pay cut. And we already know that they're not going to do that. I don't need to say names. You know who these guys are, and you know who they with. Boxing for the long term can't survive without audience participation. So when you get the people like Bob Arum, who on a rare occasion is telling the truth that he can't organize any big fights right now, he's telling the truth. Now, I don't know if he's telling the truth about this Wilder Fury thing that they found like somebody to sponsor the fight, to finance the fight. Because Bob Arum did said this before. Don't you remember the temporary 40,000 seat stadium he was gonna build in Las Vegas for Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao? Don't you remember? Oh, Floyd has 5 days to sign the contract, but they don't have no, basically they don't have a real offer sheet. They don't have a location. They don't have what the purchase is going to be. None of that stuff. But the people fell for it. These idiotic Manny Pacquiao fans who wanted to believe that it was Floyd that was ducking Manny Pacquiao when you know, it was basically on the other side of the street, when it was basically Manny Pacquiao, okay, who just didn't want to take random drug tests. But nevertheless, I don't want to fall into deep talking about that. I'm saving that for a totally another video, which will be did later on tonight. First of all, fighting in locations without, crowds and everything, like I said, it ain't gonna work. Because like I said, the promoters and the staff of the promoters, like I said, they make their money off the gate. The gate, the concession, you know what I'm saying, etc., etc. So unless ESPN, PBC find big time sponsors that's willing to pay big time money for advertisement slots. Now, if they could pull this off like how they do the Super Bowl, yeah, they're shit full steam ahead. And the other option is to make every fight a pay-per-view fight. So who you think gonna do that? Now, like I said, if they can find advertisers that's willing to pay shit like $5 million a slot, the Pepsis, the Doritos, and these movie companies. And right about now, Hollywood ain't paying shit right about now, based off what they going through. If they willing to do that, pay millions of dollars per commercial slot, then hell yeah, then it's full steam ahead. But that's not gonna happen. That's the only way they could continue to pull that off. You know, the thing about me, like I told you, I'm a realist. I don't want to get on here lying to you guys, like manipulating you, leading you on like a lot of these other dudes be doing. Just sitting up here lying to y'all. And you could tell whoever that says different, you could tell them I said it. You can tell them if they got a problem, they could personally get at me. Because this is the absolute truth. What's going on? The big time fighters, they not gonna be sitting up fighting, fighting without no crowds, fighting on sound stages. And the only reason why they was able to pull that off with WrestleMania, and WrestleMania to me was a disaster, is because that was on pay-per-view. Catch my drift? So how do you think they gonna be able to do that being on free TV? Like I said, unless the networks, the promoters, the fighters all work out some kind of advertisement, you know what I'm saying, some kind of advertisement deal where they got these companies paying, you know, big time money for commercial slots. That's the only way they'll be able to pull that off on a regular basis. Other than that, you will not see no big time fights unless basically the fight is on pay-per-view. Okay? And then for it to somewhat succeed on pay-per-view, for them to recoup any money, once again, the fighters may have to take a salary, take a salary cut. And you would have to lower the price of the pay-per-view. You would have to lower it from $80 to probably $50, maybe $40, you know, and hope that you can, sell a certain amount of pay-per-views. Like I said, that's the only way, man. Like I said, I don't be meaning to do this, but at the end of the day, I get kind of tired of these fighters and shit and some of these content creators lying to you guys. For real. Like I said, I'm not worried about making nobody mad. I don't give a fuck about that shit. But y'all need to know the truth. Y'all need to know the truth. And then, not to mention, you have to pay the undercard with the live gate. If enough people don't show up for a fight, the promoters take a L. Then they have to pay their staff out of their own pocket. And you know they can't constantly continue to do that. So they depend on a lot of things to make money. So I'm just keeping it 100. You know, unless they have an exclusive deal. And then that's also is predicated on, you know what I'm saying, viewership, who fights. So a lot of things have to come in place and shit. So if you think your favorite fighter is going to be continuing to fight on regular TV with no crowd, no gate, you sadly mistaken. As I said before, there will not be, unless something dramatically changes, there will not be any big time fights this year. You may get some fights, but they ain't gonna be the fights that you think gonna happen. Now, if this Deontay Wilder thing is true, then who knows? That may be an option. But once again, it still come down to safety. It come down to location. It just come down to it's a security risk, especially if it is in the United States. Right now, it's a extreme security risk. So I'm just keeping it 100. This your boy Town Biz. I'm out.